Hey, what's up YouTube? Lightsaber Samurai here, and I'm back again for another video. And this time I wanted to talk about one of my favorite genres of media when it comes to watching television shows or movies, and that is anime. I love me some anime, and most people don't realize that anime has a long history with video games spanning all the way back to the inception. So I'm not going to get into all the history because that's a channel for another YouTuber, but what I will do is I'll show you 5 awesome games based on anime. Let's take a look. Alrighty, and first up on the list, I'm going to go through these pretty quickly here. First up, we have Fist of the North Star, Ken's Rage, and this is the PlayStation 3 version. It takes place in a post-apocalyptic world that has been destroyed by nuclear war, and most life on the planet has, perished. Of course, mankind has survived, and you play as the hero, a guy named Kenshiro, who is the last successor in a deadly style of martial art. This is based on the original manga that aired in the 1980s, and as you can see by the art style, it's very, Mad Max or Road Warrior with, its large shoulder pads and, excessive use of leather. But all in all, this is a fun game, and we'll get into a little bit of the gameplay here. You see this cool opening. The guy you play as, Kenshiro, is basically a Super Saiyan. Okay, getting into it here. This is a game, if you play this game and it reminds you of like Dynasty Warriors or Samurai Warriors, this is made by the same team, and in fact, this is basically another game in their franchise, kind of a spin-off, and they just kind of use the Fist of the North Star story and aesthetic as the backdrop. So at its heart, this game is basically like a Samurai Warriors game, although I think it's a little slower paced. Enemies don't tend to rush you like they do in Samurai Warriors. And I think the combat, while fast-paced, it's kind of slower, especially with the heavier attacks. It's kind of a more heavy, grounded combat system. But I like the way that I like the way that works a lot here. As you can see, there's a lot of blood. The way they kind of explode, and that's tantamount to the anime. He has a style that destroys enemies, makes them explode from within. So if you see this game, it's not very common, but it's not very expensive either, so definitely pick it up. It's Fist of the North Star. Alrighty, next here we have Eureka 7 Volume 1, The New Wave, and this is on the PlayStation 2. Now this is based on the Eureka 7 anime that came out in the mid-2000s, sort of. It doesn't follow the manga like Fist of the North Star did. It's kind of its own sub-story set in that universe. You play as a new Academy recruit named Sumner Sturgeon, and he's joining the Academy to become an LFO pilot on his own. This actually, while it doesn't follow the anime, some of the characters from the anime do make an appearance. So like I said, it's kind of like its own side story that ties into it. Getting into the gameplay here, it kind of reminded me of Armored Core, like some of the older games that you played on like the PlayStation 2. They came out. Controls a little different though, so if you're kind of looking for that Armored Core experience, it's going to take some getting used to. As you see here, the LFOs, they have a mode change, and you can either fight as a stand-up mech, or you can drop down into kind of like that tank mode. You'll utilize both in gameplay, and both of them work pretty effectively. It's kind of cool, to be able to switch up, and the gameplay style kind of changes accordingly as I get ganged up here. The graphics on it looks pretty good here. The graphics, I'm not sure what engine they're based off of, but the colors are okay. They're a little drab, but that was, kind of the style of a lot of games during that time period. But, the frame rate is smooth and everything performs well. Like I said, this is a pretty fun game, and that's basically all I can say about it. Again, this is a game that I had never heard of before. I kind of stumbled onto it and Volume 2 while at my local game store, and so I picked them both up. We'll look at Volume 2 here at another point. But like I said, it's got a cool system. You know, it's you can upgrade a lot of the weapons and upgrade a lot of the moves. You can add a lot of melee moves as the game goes on. You do that by completing missions. It has its own currency system, and you know, you can go to the shop in between missions and upgrade your LFO. Alright, getting into it next here, Ghost in the Shell standalone complex, and this was one of the first anime I really got into. This was at the height, you know, of my anime like fandom in the mid-90s when this aired, and I was watching a lot of this, a lot of Dragon Ball Z, Gundam Wing, and yes, even some Sailor Moon was in there. But this one, it takes place in the future, and basically, you know, there's a heavy presence of androids. Everybody's getting augmentations and the like. And a lot of people talk about the version that came out on PlayStation 1, but this is the game that I really wanted. You know, of course, the other one plays the Fuchikomi tanks, which that's all well and good, but this was a third-person action shooter that I was looking for, and you play as the Major in this and her partner Bato. They kind of switch off from mission to mission. You can play, you know, it allows you for the most part to play stealth, or you can, I'm going in guns blazing here, but you can sneak around and, you know, just hit enemies with melee attacks and throwing knives, and you can basically kind of stay out of sight for most of the missions here. Like I said, the graphics on this are really nice for its time, and, you know, I think it, you know, portrays the source material very well. It's kind of that, you know, kind of that dark art style. And, you know, kind of this anime itself reminds me a lot of other anime like Cowboy Bebop and like Black Lagoon and things like that. But like I said, the presentation overall was really nice. This got average reviews when it came out, but I think the game holds up pretty well. I had a lot of fun playing it. And again, it's not a very expensive game. So if you see it, definitely pick it up. It's Ghost in the Shell.
The stories that surround the two sacred headbands are as many as the men who have died in their pursuit. Some say they bestow supernatural powers upon whoever possesses them. Others believe that they were created by the gods, and that mankind dances at their end like a fish snagged on a line. I can't vouch for any of that bullshit. All I can tell you is what I witnessed with my own two eyes, which is it. Since his life became all tangled up in those same two headbands, Afro Samurai has known only suffering, unbearable loss, and pain.
Alright, and if you couldn't tell by that awesome intro, this next game on the list is Afro Samurai on the Xbox 360. And this one, it takes place during the events of the manga. Afro Samurai's father was the original, at the start of the story, was the holder of the #1 headband. Afro, as a kid, sees his father killed by a guy named Justice, who is the owner of the #2 headband. And so this is a tale of vengeance. As Afro grows up, his job is to get to the #2 headband so he can challenge Justice and kill Justice and avenge his father. At this game heart, it's a hack and slash game, but it's very stylized. The graphics itself do an excellent job of bringing the anime to life, and like I said, if you were just kind of watching gameplay of this, you may not realize at first that this is actually a video game, but in fact part of the manga. Of course, when you see my achievements pop up, that'll clue you in. But like I said, the art style is very good, and it's very true to form here. As you can see here, it's this cool mechanic that it shows as you do damage to enemies, you gain focus, and then you can use that focus to slow down time, and it usually ends with your opponent being decapitated or having their arms or legs cut off or something to that effect. It's very bloody, it's very gory, it's very stylized, but I mean, it looks awesome. Another thing to note, as you heard in the intro, Samuel L. Jackson and the original cast are back reprising their roles, and they all do a very good job. And not only are they back to do the voiceovers, but you've also got excellent music by RZA of the Wu-Tang Clan. So like I said, you've got a dope soundtrack to listen to while you play the game. Like I said, all in all, there's not a lot of things I can say about this game negative. I mean, as the game goes on, of course, you'll earn more moves, and you can, earn more styles and things like that to enhance your gameplay. So, I mean, if you see Afro Samurai, definitely pick it up. It's a game you can get for $10 or less, so snag it. Alrighty here, and the last game on this list is Naruto Rise of a Ninja, and this was an Xbox 360 exclusive. And this, of course, you play as Naruto. It follows the anime from the beginning all the way up to the Chunin exams, and so that's basically like the first 80 episodes of the anime or so. In this, it's an action game, kind of plays in an open world. You have the entirety of Leaf Village to explore and beyond, and as you can see here, I'm barreling down the street. A lot of the city itself becomes more accessible as you learn new moves, as long as you don't go crashing in the walls, that is. Like I said, it's a very humorous game. I like the humor in the game. It's very faithful to the cartoon, that we used to watch back in the day. Just like in the anime, a lot of the village shuns you, and so you'll have to do a lot of side missions to gain the favor of its citizens. Like this one here, I'm making a quick trip. I'm delivering ramen to a bunch of villagers, and like I said, the game starts off basically 100% of the village hates you, but by completing main story missions and side missions like this, generally you can gain the citizens of Leaf Village. You can gain their favor, and they'll help you, point you in directions as far as finding new mission markers and the like. And so you see I gained that guy's favor. There's another one. This one's creepy though. You see some of these like disgruntled villagers here who are heartbroken, I guess, and so you use your sexy jutsu to kind of entice them there, and in doing that, they will, you'll gain the favor of that villager, and they won't hate you anymore. But that's kind of weird, because Naruto is a dude, Anyway, he could use some of his other jutsus to traverse the levels here. Like I said, you'll earn these as the game goes on. And the more you learn, the more you progress through the game, the more vertical the city gets. And you'll be able to, scale buildings like that and climb on rooftops and skid across the rails like this. I mean, once you get to this point, exploring Leaf Village is a blast. And like I said, you can go outside of Leaf Village too, and there's like forest areas to venture through and all that. Like I said, it takes place, it follows the story of the anime. But like I said, just chilling out here in Leaf Village, that's something right there. If that's not enough for you, they also have a pretty cool 2D mode here, or excuse me, a 2-player mode here. It's basically a fighting game, and in fact, this is actually how the battles in the game take place. Once you run into an enemy, it kind of switches into this this side scroller kind of 3D action game here, or 3D fighting game here, and it's pretty fleshed out. You learn a lot of combos. You can buy and earn combos throughout the story. And like I said, you can play this multiplayer. You can earn more characters as the game progresses, as you meet them in the game. They have a lot of cool super moves, and like I said, it's very cinematic, very cool looking. Of course, it's one thing I like about it is you can fight back against their attempts to hit you with super moves, kind of like they do in Dragon Ball Z, and then you can turn it on and use your own. And like I said, they have the chance to block it too. Unfortunately, Sasuke doesn't block it, and it's really cool to see the whole super move play out here. This game also has a sequel, Naruto The Broken Bond, that we'll look at next time. But if you see Rise of a Ninja, pick it up. Alright YouTube, and that's going to do it for this video, but just let me know down in the comments. I went over 5 of maybe, 10,000 games based on anime. So lay it down in the comments. What are some titles I missed? And I will be visiting this again in the future, so let me know some titles you'd like to see in the future. As always, I'm Lightsaber Samurai. Thank you for watching, thank you for subscribing, and until next time. Hey, what's up YouTube? Lightsaber Samurai here, and thank you for watching my latest video, which is games based on anime. Please write down below in the comments if you can think of any other games that we can take a look at next time, because there will be a next time. I've got a few in mind, and so we will definitely add those. But as always, thank you for watching, thank you for subscribing, and stay awesome.